Hello and welcome to this mid-morning taste challenge. I have two American rye whiskeys, all right? And this is Templeton Rye, introduced in 2005. It's 80 proof and it's aged 4 years. And it's produced in Indiana but bottled in Iowa by Templeton Distillery. All right, so it's produced in Indiana at Midwest Grain Products, their distillery, the old Seagram's Distillery in Lawrenceburg, Indiana. Then it's bottled in Iowa, Templeton, Iowa. So, yeah, I don't know how you would feel about that, but that's the case that is presented right now. And it runs about $34 a bottle. My friend David got it for 18 and gave it to me for a Christmas gift. So that was a great deal. To get it for 18 is a deal, let me tell you. Mr. R says, good morning. Good morning to you, Mr. R. All right, so I don't know if I'm going to try to do some painting outside today. It's still very damp and humid, so it's going to have to have that clear, dry air come in. I'm not fooling with paint and damp, but maybe in 4 hours, 5 hours, no, maybe in 3 hours it'll clear up. I don't know. It's all a contingency. All right, this is Winchester, Kentucky rye whiskey. Uh, 90 proof. And this is aged 1 year. It says on the side of the bottle, aged at least 1 year. That's why they don't call it straight rye. It can't be straight rye. It's not aged at least 2 years. Now, they're both aged in new charred oak barrels because the only way you can call it, well, it doesn't matter the state, Kentucky. This is made in Kentucky, but what the state is relevant. Only way you can call it rye whiskey is it has to be at what? At least 51% rye. The other 49% could be any kind of grain. And it has to be aged in new charred oak barrels, but not in any particular time frame. Okay, it can be aged as long as you want to age it. But if you want to call it straight rye whiskey, it does have to be aged at least 2 years. So this is only a 1 year rye, so it's going to be pretty young, as you can imagine. Now, also, if it's not straight rye, they're allowed to add flavoring and coloring. So could this have flavoring added? It could. I don't know if it does. Coloring, yes, it could have caramel coloring. Once again, I don't know. Now, they're claiming since 1866. That is not a true story. They have not had Winchester, Kentucky rye since 1866. Now, the Winchester rifle, I believe, is traced back to that time, but this has nothing to do with a rifle. These companies like to play these games where they'll make a claim that it's, Kentucky whiskey since 1783. Yeah, not really. Since 1795, not really. So it says established 1866 superior rye whiskey. But look, this distillery didn't even start operations till 2014, and they were just building the buildings and getting rolling. Other people were making the products for them. Then in 2016 they started actually distilling, and they didn't put their first product on the shelf from them till 2022. All right. So their bourbon. Now the rye I think came out before because they had to age it. Now it's got a plastic neoprene stopper. So yeah, when you see these dates on these liquor bottles, don't pay much attention to them because they usually have very little to do with the product you're drinking. It's like if you go and buy Bushmills Irish whiskey, very popular product, Bushmills from Northern Ireland. No knock against it because I like it, but it says since 1608. Nope. The first Bushmills didn't come out till 1786. Now, the old ads used to say 1786. But what they're going off of is that records show, there are records, the oldest record available shows that a license to distill was given to somebody in Bushmills, Ireland in 1608 by the royal government. Okay, it had nothing to do with Proximo Spirits, had nothing to do with Bushmills brand. But see, they'll use that date and try to make it seem like that the product you're drinking goes back that long, and it doesn't. And does it really matter? It does. It does, and it doesn't matter to the quality of the product, okay? But it does matter to, in the sense that you might be buying something that you think is really old and it's really recent. Okay, that's all I'm saying. And I used to teach history, so I like to be accurate on these things. Now, they're both golden, so the appearance, they're like amber gold. The appearance isn't really much different. And neither one is straight rye. Remember, they're not straight ryes. They don't claim to be. So that does leave us with the possibility that they could have flavoring and coloring added. Didn't say they did. Don't know if they do. There's a possibility, distinct possibility. Cheers to you. Cheers back to you, Mr. R. Now, Jack Daniels says since 1866. And there's some question about that. I don't think the actual product is that old. It's just that they started to begin their development as a distillery that year. You see what I'm saying? By the end of 1866, they might have only had purchased the land. But, you know, whatever. It's an old brand. Now, Jack Daniels is from the 1800s, but they all do that. Budweiser, 1876. Yes, that's true. But there's more to that story also. Miller High Life. Yeah, because I think Anheuser-Busch was brewing beer in some format to 1855, but they didn't have that brand Budweiser until 1876. New Miller High Life says since 1903, and they're shortchanging themselves in that sense because it's really been around since 1855. It had a different name. Johnny Walker Red Label says that they've been around since 1909, but really it's been around since 1867. It just had a different name. It was called Johnny Walker Old Highland Whiskey. Johnny Walker Old Highland Blended Whiskey. That's what it was called. And it was aged 3 years. And then they had the Old Highland aged 12 years. But they decided, they decided to change their branding in 1909. They put a new label out with what they called the Striding Man, a guy walking. And they came out with Johnny Walker Red Label, the 3-year aged, and the Blue Label. I'm sorry, the Black Label. Sorry about that. Black Label. Blue Label didn't come out till 92. Black Label, 12-year age. And it seemed to have worked for them. But I would have still put out a whiskey called Old Highland just to have it out there, but they didn't care. All right. Do you have any war movies that accurately depict what really happened that you recommend? Oh, yeah, that's tough. That's tough because they're usually so off the wall. But apparently the movie Seminole from 1953 it's a color movie starring Rock Hudson. I don't know how you feel about that, but Rock Hudson, I was reading about that movie the other day, and they said it was pretty accurate, showing how the U.S. government was cheating them, kept trying to cheat the Indians, and they had this sort of renegade, out-of-control commander down there that was doing all kind of things that was actually making things much worse, sort of sparking the war, and how other people were trying to expose him and say, oh, look, this guy's bad, he's a nut, and how they cheated the Seminole chief Osceola, tried to capture him under a flag of truce in a sneaky way. But so they said that movie was pretty accurate. Gettysburg is supposed to be pretty accurate from 1993. Zulu Dawn from 1979. I think it's pretty accurate. In a general sense. They take a lot of liberties. But in a general sense, like how the battle occurred, how the commander, Lord Chelmsford, split his forces and didn't know the disposition of the enemy, and how his rear guard battalion got wiped out. And it's a prequel to the movie Zulu, which apparently Zulu from 1964 isn't very accurate at all, except in the sense that the British got attacked by the Zulus and they defeated them. But the rest of the movie is hogwash. But I think Zulu Dawn attempted to make it a little bit more realistic, in a general sense. You remember now. Some of the stuff in the movie makes no sense, like the speech about the Zulus brought down an empire. They didn't bring down the empire. The British Empire continued on for a long time, but they were taking that speech out of context at the end of the movie anyway. That speech was like not relevant to the battle is what I'm saying. It wasn't really so. But yeah, I mean it's good. It's well made. Some movies that are total joke that are not even good movies, like Pearl Harbor from 1998. That atrocity. Um, the 1998 movie Saving Private Ryan was a fiasco. Top of the wee morning, says Erwin Papa. Hector Lopez says morning, Ronald. Morning to you. So yeah, so Saving Private Ryan. I mean, that thing was, you're gonna shoot the guy through the. You're gonna shoot him. He's in a tower, is in the dark, right? And you're gonna shoot him through the through this through the viewfinder, the sight, the sighting, the you know what I'm saying, the scope. That was like a cartoon movie, but with real. It was like a cartoon with real life actors. The landing at D-Day was dramatic, but actually that did not last 30 minutes. But I mean, that was terrible. Schindler's List. Don't even get me started on that thing. All right. But back to the topic at hand, the whiskey. But yeah, most war movies are dreadful. Dreadful. Horrible. Apocalypse Now was sort of quasi related to something that actually really happened in 1968, but that's another story. Okay, smells pretty common here. Common, like regular. These are both common. Price, I paid $19.99 for the Winchester. $19.99. That wasn't a bad price. But I didn't see it after I bought it. Then I went back to Total Wine for something else later, and then I never saw it again. Burley Sullivan says, "You, same to you, Burley." Templeton is pretty common. Like I said, it was a gift to me, but the guy got it for $18. David got it for $18, but the normal price about $32. I would never pay $32 for it. It's too ordinary. But if you want to pay $32, go ahead, but I wouldn't dream of it. So this was ordinary. Little rye spice, little menthol, but mostly just nothing. Will you be bringing out the Bullet Rye in this Rye Whiskey Taste Challenge series? Yes, I did it. I already did it. It's already posted. I did the video already. Yes. Yesterday afternoon. So if you watch it, you'll see what happened. And what you probably think happened did happen. All right. But you can watch. It's pretty good. It's kind of long, 30 something minutes. But I mean, it's interesting. I didn't talk about like silly stuff. I was on topic. This one seems to have a little bit more character, but it isn't much. If I had to go by appearance, it wouldn't matter because they look the same. If I had to go on aroma, it wouldn't matter much because they basically smell the same. So right now it's a tie, which means Templeton loses because it's $13 more per bottle and it ain't 13 cents better so far. Now, the most important part is the taste challenge. So here goes the tasting. But $13 so far? No way. No way. That's one thing that's been killing Templeton in these challenges. It's the price, $32 if you're lucky, and it's getting ripped apart by $18.99 bottles. That ain't supposed to happen, but really that happens a lot, right? Way more than it's supposed to. I think the 90 proof will give it away, but I'm not sure about that either. But it should, 45% alcohol versus 40. This one has some alcohol burn, you feel it, and has the minty taste, mentholated, everything. But it's just it's still kind of ho hum. Not ho hum bad. Don't take it the wrong way. Just ho hum like it's kind of ordinary, but it's a good flavor. I like it. 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 I have to keep emphasizing that. People might take it that I'm putting it down, and I'm not. This one seems they have more body and more alcohol punch, which is telling me Winchester. A little bit more character. It's younger, so it's going to be hotter. It does have a little more hotness, which personally does not bother me because I'm so used to drinking all these high ABV beers, which are barely aged, if they're aged at all. Some of these ales, because lagers, they'll age, but ales sometimes they just filter them and it's in the can. Whereas lagers, they're usually aged in 28 to 30 days or longer, but because it got to be to come out correctly. But so I'm not, the hot part doesn't bother me. You understand? Because I'm used to the hot beer. So it's kind of normal to me, but I can detect it, I think. So should they go longer than a year? I guess they should if they want to. But in this case, they chose to age it 1 year, or at least 1 year, it says. I bet it wasn't 2 days longer than a year. But everything doesn't have to be the same. See, in liquor, if you watch enough liquor reviews, bourbon especially, because that's the main thing people put out. Some of these people that review bourbon, they think everything's got to be the same. Like literally, if everything is not the same, meaning the same according to what they think it should be, then they don't like it. And it's like you want to tell them, yeah, but every bourbon is not 12 years aged. Okay. They all have different roles to play. They can't all be the same because that's not how the market works. It's like everything is not priced the same. Everything is not above premium, super premier. You say, well, they got budget ones. That's right. They're cheap. Lower shelf. Whatever you want to call them, we know what they are, but they're not definitively bad. Nah. But they'll almost pretend like, or maybe they don't understand. Like it has to be like, it's not Old Fitzgerald 100 proof, whatever that one is, that's aged a long time, and it's like $75 or $90 a bottle. I know because it's a different product. So it's like a lack of perspective or lack of understanding or whatever. I don't know. I don't understand what I want to watch these videos. It's like, well, whoever thought benchmark, McAfee's benchmark was what you saying? No one thought that. Everybody knows it's inexpensive by virtue of the fact that it's inexpensive. We can all go shopping. We know what it's cost. We know what it costs. But don't go up there on the internet talking about, oh, it's terrible, and you're going to act like you're gagging or something. Some of them do that play acting, like, oh, I don't think I could take it. I said, I don't think I could take this video, is what I'm saying to myself, because it's like, nobody in the world is going to sip that bourbon and do all those antics like they can't take it. They're not going to do it. They might think it's kind of dull. You know what I mean? You might sip it and say, this is kind of bland. Okay, fine. It's bland. It was $9.99 a bottle. We get it. Or in the worst case, it was $12.99 a bottle. But up here, talking about you can't swallow it. You're going to dump it out. Come on, you're going to dump out your bourbon only reason you bought it to do a video was because you knew a lot of people were going to watch, because that's a well-known product, Benchmark. It's almost like the whole video is phony, because you could have just ignored it. If you knew it was substandard or I don't want to say substandard, that's not correct, or low standard, you could have kept on going, because you got all these highfalutin bourbons you're doing every day, talking about, look at me, yeah, I paid $90, I paid $125, and I just went ahead and bought the other one for $200, because you knew you were going to do it, and then you just want to throw this in there because you want to get some cheap. I don't want to go into a rant, but you know what I'm saying. You could see these things, can't you? You could pick up on what they're trying to perpetuate. Because you could have just kept on shopping. But you brought it in for some funny stuff. And I know those other guys, they got two guys. I'm not going to name the state because you know who I'm talking about already. They'll bring in a really cheap bourbon or whiskey just for like fun and games video. Like their whole approach is to make fun of it and to get like cheap laughs. That doesn't inform me of anything. We all know what it is. We know about Hot 10 High. Which is like a really cheap bourbon with natural flavors. So you made the video for almost like insidious reasons, because everybody knows what it is. And nobody, well, I guess some people like those cheap laughs, but I see right through it. And I'm like, this is a joke. And then the whole video is like, ha ha, chuckle, 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 wink, wink, nudge, nudge, say no more. It's like, oh yeah, this is this is helping me out, but I didn't need your help. All right. So Templeton, does it live up to its reputation? Well, I don't think it has that good of a reputation. From over the years, people say all kind of nasty things about it, and there was a whole controversy and everything. So I don't know what it's living up to. But I didn't really pay any attention to the controversy, because when it happened, I wasn't really into whiskey, and I didn't want to try whiskey because I knew it was going to lead to all this. That's why I avoided it for a long time. Like any liquor, I was like, no. People say, try it, do whiskey reviews. I say no, because then I knew it would turn into some big thing, because I'd be interested in it. I knew I would be interested in it. And which is really why I avoided flavor malt beverages. I didn't like the idea of flavor in beer to start with. It's like, just make a good beer. You don't need to put chocolate in it. You don't need to put cranberries in it. Okay, so that was a problem for me. And then the whole flavor malt beverage was like, oh, this is alcohol pop. This is like high C with liquor in it, which is basically what it is. Okay, but I knew I would get interested in it, and then it would be this whole thing that would never end. All right, so this one's fine, but it's just like canned hot tamales. You could eat it, but you don't really give it to people for a gift. Yeah, they're not even hot. Okay, this one has an interesting little twist to it. It's got the menthol and everything. It's got a little twang to it, a little twist. I don't know what that twist is. Could it be flavoring? Could be. It's not really hot. Okay, I'm running out of it, so I have to make this decision right now. I think it's got a little more oomph to it, which is telling me that's the 90 proof. Now, ultimately, do I like both of these products? I do like them. Do I think they have a good flavor? I think they have a good flavor. Do I think they're quality? I would say quality to a certain extent. Would I mind drinking them if I actually drank whiskey instead of only consuming it when I do video reviews or taste challenges? If I did drink whiskey, like regular people do it, like normal, I would drink them. Yes, I would. Wouldn't necessarily like the price for that one, but hypothetically, I would drink them. Would I recommend them? Yeah, I would recommend them if you're not too picky on flavor. Like if you like mild and you don't like bold, you say no. I really like mild. The milder the better. Well, this could be a great choice, Templeton, because this is about as mild as they get. This side of bland, but they're not great by any stretch. They're not like profoundly good. Although when I did solo reviews, they scored pretty well because that's an isolation, and that's important too because you're doing it in isolation, and you say, yeah, but theoretically somebody might buy a product and they like it and they just stick with it, like they got no undercurrent need or drive to buy other things. That's a very good point. I'm like setting up a straw man, to make arguments against myself, even though I'm the one making the argument. That's what I'm doing. So, yes, that is a very good point because most people are that way. They buy a car brand, they like it, they just buy it. They never deviate. Or mayonnaise, they like never deviate. I buy Hellman's, that's it. Or a certain soft drink, soda pop, they buy RC Cola and they're not going to change. I don't care what the situation is. Or bacon, whatever. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like they're just so brand loyal, which is good and bad. It's good. There's good and bad to it. In my opinion, mostly bad because you get hosed on price. But fine. So you buy a rye, you like it, so you keep buying it. Fine. You don't have to have a hobby. It's not like most people drink liquor as a hobby or taste it as a hobby. I get that. Most people don't drink beer as a hobby. It's like, why you? Most people that I know in real life, they say, oh yeah, you review beer, okay, and they're looking like, in their mind, that's like it's like eccentric. The way they look at it, it's eccentric. It's not like morally bad. It doesn't make you a bad person, but it's a little weird. Like most normal people don't buy all kind of beers so they can evaluate them and give challenges for no particular reason. I understand. I do it. I do it because I like to do it. You say, well, it's eccentric. Okay. Some people find it quaint and curious, so they'll ask me from time to time, "What'd you think about that beer?" Or ask him. He's that beer weirdo, is what they mean. Okay, so I understand. I get it. I get it. I get it. I got it all along, really, because I tried to get other family members involved, but they were like, nah. That totally went nowhere because they drink Coors Light, and it's like, why would you want to drink anything else? We have Coors Light. Everything else is garbage. I was like, I don't think so. But yeah. So you eventually you give up. You give up and you say, nah, they're not going to go for it. Okay, so yeah, you have to look at things in their like I always say, it's how you frame it. It's how you frame it. And it's the context in which you view it, which is important, which, like I say, a lot of people are unable to grasp those concepts. They can't understand looking at things in context. They have a linear approach to thinking. Everything's in a linear. And it's like, yeah, but what if? What if makes no sense to them. Like hypothetical or abstract reasoning. They say, but I don't like potatoes. I say, I know. He told me that. I'm talking about, let's assume that you did like potatoes. So they can't, the point is baffles them. It's aloof to their, they can't grasp it. You know what I mean? Like you can't grasp it. Okay. So anyway, I think this is the Templeton, and I am saying that by virtue of its generalized blandness, but not in any way badness. And that's hard to look at. I can understand that seems like a sort of unusual approach to it. I got it. I got it. So now I got it right. So I don't care. All that other stuff I was talking about doesn't matter. I was just like building up so I could come up with an excuse. No, I'm just kidding. No, but I'm joking around in all seriousness. But because you could trust me on this channel, I guarantee you that in almost every case, under most circumstances, you can trust what I say. Because I'm like Elvis Presley. I never lied to you. No, not much. But yeah, so this was given away by the fact that it was a little hot, but the hot helped it. Actually, this was helped by not being aged that long. You say that's crazy. You're mad. Man's going crazy. Wrong, wrong. You could have heard the man just 2 days ago. You could have heard the man. No, but I like to be out in the jungle with my people. I feel comfortable with my people. But and a voice. He likes you because you're still alive. He's got plans for you. But I think in this case the heat helped it because the if you want to say unrefined character of it, the lack of aging, it did bring out a little bit more punchiness, and sometimes that's good. So it brought out a little more punchiness, a little more action. So I would drink this because it got a little bit more action to it. Now, like I said earlier, it's not well developed and it's not erudite. It's not a gourmet rye, but it's it's all right. Okay, now this is going to bring us to a very interesting sub-series, a series within a series, and that would be Old Overhaul. So I'm going to do, because everything is rye right now, right? So I'm going to do Templeton Rye. We all have different ideas about this one. This is a little bit of a controversial product, but I'm going to bring it into Old Overhaul versus Old Overhaul, and I've got three different bottles of old Overhaul. I got the 80 proof. I got the 80 proof non-chill filtered aged 3 years, and I've got the 86 proof, and then I've got the new 86 proof non-chill filtered aged 4 years, which most people did not see until about 4 or maybe 5 months ago. But supposedly, and probably that's true, but it might have been in Lexington, Kentucky, in Frankfurt, it was introduced in 2022. Now, it might have been the last week of 2022. So I've got the 3-year age, 80 proof, chill filtered, the 3-year age, 86 proof, non-chill filtered, and I've got the 4-year age, 86 proof, non-chill filtered. So that, I think that those three are going to beat Templeton every time. And I paid $15.99 for the first 2 bottles. Oh no, that's true, because I couldn't find the black cap, the 80 proof. I couldn't find it. And then one store had it, and it was $17.99. It was the last bottle. And I told my friend David, I said, pull the trigger, buy it, because it's gonna go. So that's true. I paid $15.99 and $17.99 and $19.99. That's right. I could have gotten it for $18.99, the third one, but I didn't know that Total Wine had it for that price. But anyway, so I didn't pay an extraordinary amount. But I think that those three, which have slightly different specs, but not profoundly different, but they're slightly different. I think that each of those three is going to beat Templeton. Win. Don't know. We'll find out. Okay, so last comments, and then I'm out of here. I know the video's going long, but I was trying to talk about all these little things. How do you know? Oh, good question. How do you know which glass is the one you poured the whiskey in if you mixed the glasses around before? Oh, well, because I got little tags at the bottom. and the tags are coded. So that's letter C for competition or competitor. This is letter M for the main product, meaning the main thing I'm doing right now. The main thing is Templeton versus whatever comes along. So, and I make them the same size tag with the same black ink with the same width and everything, so that there's no giveaway. So the tags are basically identical unless you take, because I use these glasses for far away. I can't see close up. So I look, I say M. I don't need glasses for reading. I never, people say you need to get reading glasses. I said, well, why would I get reading glasses? I can see fine when I read. I can't see far away. I can see up close. It's like, think before you talk. And this is the competitor. So the competitor was obviously the Winchester. And this was the main product, the main thing. So I poured the Templeton in the M, mainframe, and then I mixed them up real well. I was showing you the video, I was showing you the website and everything. I mixed them up. Well, I didn't show a website on this video, but in the Sazerac one of it. So by the time I'm talking and I'm mixing them up, I can't remember which was which. So then it's a fair taste challenge. And once I do the, now if they're different, these were the same color. But if one is real dark and one's light, well, I close my eyes because you don't want to glance. So then when I decide to make my reveal, I look, and if I got it right, I got it right. Okay. Oh, it makes sense. Right. So I don't need a blindfold. I see somebody doing a blindfold. I'm like, why are you doing a blindfold? You could just do it my way. But what's the examination for next week? Says Hector Lopez of Arizona. Well, strawberry beers. Any beer that's strawberry flavored or using real strawberry, like a Vita strawberry or St. Arnold, or is using strawberry, not artificial strawberry, but strawberry. Although you could maybe make the argument for those, but those are rare. But so yeah, strawberry beers. I bought 2 today. I got ripped off on one. I paid 60 cents too much, and I was aggravated. But I was like, I'm not going all the way back over there for 60 cents. And secondly, I know what they're gonna tell me. They'd give me a refund. They would give me a refund because I have a receipt. But they would say, we don't set the prices. That's the liquor company doing that. And I just don't feel like going through all of it. But I'm not happy about it because it defeated the whole purpose of buying those. I could have just went and bought a 6-pack of Avita strawberry lager. I could have bought a full-size can of the doggone, the stovepipe can of Avita Strawgator, which is probably what I should have done. But anyway. Oh, Hector Lopez. I'm sorry, Hector. I'm thinking of somebody else. I'm thinking of Gabe. I'm sorry, Hector. I'm thinking of Gabe. Hector says, I'm from Los Angeles. I sent you the West Coast Old English last year. I remember now. I remember. And that was interesting. It was out of date, but that's not your fault. But because these stores, you can't trust the store. But I was very interested in that product, and David was too, and we liked it, and I appreciate it. It was nice of Hector to do that. Very nice. So yeah, thank you, Hector, and I appreciate your support. So yeah, next Wednesday, same time, 7:20 Eastern, is going to be strawberry beers, and I've got mine. All right, y'all take care now. Bye-bye.